Hi, I'm Inga Seelman with Microsoft Canada. We're here today with another segment of Dynamics CRM for public sector with a specific focus on grants and contributions. With me today is Henry Fong from Digitalembrace. Hi, Henry.
Hi, Inga. Good to be here.
So before we jump into what your company's been doing specifically with the grant solution, tell us a bit about Digitalembrace.
Sure. It's quite a simple story. We started with 3 guys in a basement, and we started working for the government in 1999. Now we're headquartered in Richmond Hill, and we've built dozens and dozens of solutions for the government. Some of these are custom apps, and others are based on commercial off-the-shelf products, like Microsoft Dynamics CRM.
So before we go into Dynamics CRM, what are some of these custom solutions?
Well, let me tell you about one of the more cool ones. That way we don't bore our audience.
Cool is good.
If you've ever walked into a ministry building, you'll see large TV screens, like at the Ministry of Transportation. These TV screens have the news and the traffic on there. Well, that traffic screen, it's called TRIP, Travelers Road Information Portal.
The one showing the highway traffic flows, red, yellow, green?
That's right. But it tells you a lot more than that. It takes multiple feeds from the compass camera systems and road closures, and it displays it all there, all in real time. You can even go to the ministry website and initiate that application yourself and change all the filters.
I may have to try that.
Well, you should. They've won a lot of awards for that one.
I never knew that you guys built that. But let's move on to grants and contributions. What has Digitalembrace done in that space?
So you want to hear about how billions of dollars is being properly managed, all using Microsoft Dynamics CRM.
That sounds good. What's the system that Digitalembrace has built and currently deployed in the Ontario government? What's so cool about it?
Well, what makes it cool is that it's got a working public portal that's already hosted on the Ontario government's infrastructure. This portal not only lets people apply for grants, it handles all the intricacies of claims management. It makes the process very user-friendly and interactive, all in real time.
Claims management, tell me a bit more about that.
Well, there's actually 2 types of grants. Those that are entitlement-based and those that are merit-based. Entitlement-based grants means that once you qualify, you get all the money right up front. And all the recipient has to do is send in status reports, regardless if they accomplish an intended project or not. Many programs work that way.
And the merit-based programs?
Well, merit-based, the agreement says that the money will be dispersed if and only if the recipient submits claims that are individually scrutinized and paid out. This means they must submit invoices, status reports, expenditure reports, a whole host of supporting material, all throughout the life cycle of the grant. Then the government pays out each claim up to the promised limit with percentage holdbacks, budget allocation, clawbacks, and if there was a prepayment, like initial loan, then there's a drawdown component.
I can see that merit-based program is much more complicated than the entitlement-based grants.
Yes, and that's what makes our solution so advantageous. It handles both types.
Well, that sounds good. So you built this entire grants and contribution solution on Microsoft Dynamics CRM?
That's right. We found that the Dynamics CRM platform is so flexible that we create a common code base for grants and contributions. But not only that, it's now spawned into tax incentives, registry management, and licensing and permits, and of course, grants and contributions.
All this with Dynamics CRM, huh?
Yep. Microsoft Dynamics CRM is the backbone of the solution, with Microsoft SharePoint being the conduit for the portal to the public. The code base sits in the middle, and this code base has been replicated to other solutions like tax incentives.
So how do you replicate the solution for other ministries?
Well, this code base was architected and created to be reused and extended over and over again. An additional ministry can now onboard their programs using this code base. They get about 60% of the code right out of the bat, and they just have to customize the 40% for their special needs.
So if I were a customer and I had a specific need for my grants and contributions, regardless of it being merit-based or entitlement-based, how would that work?
Well, what we would do is we would take the latest and greatest code base and build out from there. But here's the beauty of it. If your program creates a new feature, we actually take that feature and check that back into the code base. Now the next ministry that wants to onboard their programs, they're privy to that new feature at 60% off.
I guess that's one of the core benefits of the solution. It's quick onboarding, the standard code base, and continued enhancements that are available for everyone to use.
Exactly. But not only does the government now have a common code base, they have common code standards and common business processes. These are the processes that are being revisited, adopted, and improved continuously. That's what we did with tax incentives and licenses and permits.
That's really cool. Can you give us a real-life example of how this has been applied?
Sure. Well, there's 4 real systems that are leveraging this code base. The Rural Programs Management System, RPM we call it, was the first grant system that created and spawned this code base. Since then, the Ministry of Natural Resources, with their Stewardship portfolio solution, has reused this code base and have extended it to tax incentives and licenses and permits. This system has even integrated GIS features, so you can see throughout the province where your grants are taking effect.
So how do new features get reused and integrated?
Well, we take these new features and we just check it back into the code base for all to share. So anyone that would like these features, they already have 60% of the code already done.
It's like Christmas and Boxing Day rolled into one. New features and 60% off.
Well, it gets better than that. Because the Stewardship portfolio solution created 2 new functions, those ministries that have tax incentives or licensing and permits solutions requirements, they start from there.
So what started as a grants and contributions solution now includes licensing and permits and tax incentives. So it's a 3-for-1 deal, 60% off. I feel like I sound like an infomercial. Do we get free shipping too?
Well, it's no infomercial. This is the real deal. In fact, we've actually built out the code base for registry systems as well. The Personal Support Worker Registry just went into production a few months ago, and the health agency is keeping track of all the personal support workers in Ontario. The application assessment registry module features can now be funneled back into the next version of RPM and SPS. And who knows, the next grant system may build another feature.
So since this is the real deal, how about a quick demo on the grants and contributions solution?
Sure, let's do it. Well, the dashboard screen is the first screen you see in a grant solution. The Microsoft Dynamics CRM dashboard features are very, very good at giving the user a very quick and concise view of all their grants.
So if I wanted to see what stage a grant is in, how would I see that?
Well, chart number 1 actually gives you a funnel of all your grants right now. It shows what's in application stage, what's being approved, and what has been approved.
And what's this grants by program pie chart all about?
Well, this pie chart shows you all the grants that are out there and which program it's associated to. You can see you can run multiple grants programs and you can collapse or separate data and report on it.
And the funnels to the right of those?
Well, before I get too far into this, all these charts are actually fully customizable. So if your business needs to see certain information, we can display that. Right now, this funnel shows all the agreements, whether they are in draft requested, awaiting signature, or already signed off. That way, it's already ready for claims processing. And that's our next funnel. This shows all your claims out there, all the ones that are submitted, being assessed, and the ones that are paid.
So I can see all the claims that are coming in and I can see whether they're paid or not.
That's right. This bottom chart shows when claims come in by month of the year and what stage they're at. This trending information is invaluable for planning purposes.
These charts are nice and fine, but if I wanted to drill down further and actually see, the data making up that, is that hard to do?
No, it's actually very simple. It's just a click away.
So let's say I want to know what agreements are awaiting signature before they're approved.
Okay, so what we would do is we would go to the agreement status chart and we'll just open up the data that supports this chart. From here, that same chart is replicated, that funnel, and you just click on the filter for all the agreements that are awaiting signature. So voila, there you go.
Great. And if I wanted to find out what claims were paid in, let's say, March 2012?
Okay, let's go back to the main dashboard, and we would open up the trending information chart. Here you see all the information, just the same. We click March of 2012 and the status of paid. There you go. There's your 11 claims that were paid out in March. You could even drill down further into each individual claim. Open that up and you can see who owns the claim, what the status was, what the percentage holdback was, and what was actually paid out.
Wow, that looks really simple.
It is.
This looks like a really slick grant solution.
Well, it's getting better every time. That's our demo.
Seems like Dynamics CRM is definitely the right platform for government grants and contribution solutions, and I guess so much more.
Well, I think it's obvious. When you start a project with 60% of the coding done, and you already have the architecture artifacts completed, that's reuse at its best.
So, if you had to nail it down, what are the top 3 advantages you've seen with this system from Dynamics CRM?
Well, I actually have 4 advantages, but it does come down to this. The client will save time, money, and headaches. Maybe that is 3.
Those are 3 pretty important things.
That's right. But let me just elaborate on the 4 that we have. The first thing is that the common code base greatly reduces onboarding time. Let me just say that again. The common code base greatly reduces onboarding time. It's because you're using the same code base, your architecture doesn't change. You're reusing architectural artifacts and actual code that's been tried and tested. The RPM system that we spoke about earlier, they onboarded 20 programs in 18 months.
That's a lot of programs in a short period of time, and that's really proof of the time savings, and we all know when you save time, you save money.
That's right. Not only do you save time and money during onboarding, your incremental costs are also lowered because other ministries are using that code base and building that out. That's a second important factor. Others are extending the solution, and you benefit. And the third time and money saver is one that the designers at Microsoft knows very well. It's the user interface. It looks, it acts like Microsoft Office. And when users are familiar with the user interface, they'll adopt the system much quicker.
It does look a lot like Outlook and some of the other products, doesn't it? And I understand you can get to many of the functions that we showed in the demo, even from Outlook.
Mm-hmm. And the fourth reason why we think Dynamics CRM is the right solution for government is its flexible architecture. The proof is the fact that we started out as a grants and contribution solution, and now it's spawned into a tax incentive module, a licensing or permits module, and a registry management module. And soon we're building out the whole loans module.
Sounds like you'll be busy. Are you sure you can handle it?
Inga, we love this stuff. I'm a Waterloo computer engineer, and my business partner Enoch, he's a Waterloo computer scientist. We're in heaven.
Glad to hear you guys like what you do. Any last words before we wrap up? Any lasting thought you want to leave with our audience?
Well, we do use Microsoft Dynamics ourselves in the office, but I think for our clients, what it means is that they will onboard their programs with less time, save money, and less headaches, period.
Sounds good. Thanks, Henry. That wraps up this session on Dynamics CRM for Public Sector. Stay tuned for further podcasts. For more information, please contact your Microsoft representative.